Hey, what's going on, social media world? Aaron here. Take four. All right. So, as some of you may or may not know, I see a counselor. A counselor is good because, in life we deal with stress, and stress isn't good. And it's good to have a second opinion, who's professional, second opinion, to sort of help put things into perspective for you. And what I hope to do with this video and possibly video series is share some of the helpful things that he's shared with me as it relates to stuff. And this particular one is related to relationships, be them romantic, be them platonic. So here we go. Two quick backstories that I'm going to breeze through just to sort of bring us to the point of the advice that I'm sharing with you that I got from him. So, first story. You all might have heard before, the type of guy that I like is a down-to-earth guy with some smarts. And all of my online profiles recently that I've done, I put that as like the title thing. That's a big thing to me. I like a down-to-earth guy. I don't like arrogant nor materialistic dudes because I'm not that type of dude. So I don't want to deal with that. I'm pretty, plain. I don't have a problem going on a date to Whole Foods or whatever. So, because they have an eating area and it's really cool and their food is healthy and tasty. But I also want a guy with some smarts because what I have found in my dating experience is a lot of times, or at least enough times, the down-to-earth guys that aren't arrogant and materialistic tend to interpret me as arrogant or materialistic when that can be the farthest from the truth. And it's simply just because of the way that I carry myself. And I don't get it. I speak the way I speak. That's just who I am. Anyway. So that's what I look for in a guy. So know that. Second, I met a guy the other day. He's straight or whatever. Don't you love those guys who are straight or whatever? Gotta love it. And I didn't meet him. I met him at the ice cream shop, and just out of the blue, he started talking to me, and we've hung out a couple of times or whatever, which is really cool because at least for a guy like me, you'd never think that that would happen. But he just started talking to me, and we just started talking, and he's beautiful, he's chocolate, he's thick, he's yes, yes. But again, he's straight or whatever, so I don't even know. But we were hanging out the other day, and he said something to me that I didn't fully understand. So, and let me say, he's one of the down-to-earth guys. He's on my down-to-earth realm, one of the peeps. And this is why down-to-earth people don't like me, because I say stuff like that. He's one of the peeps, and I say it condescendingly. I'm not being condescending at all. But he's a cool guy, and he's actually really smart. But in this particular instance, we were talking, and he said something to me, and I didn't fully understand it, so I repeated it to him to try to get a better understanding. And I worded it in my words to sort of make sure that I understood what he was saying. And his response to me was, "Don't correct me. I effing hate that S." And then he moved on. And I was like, oh, well, I guess that's one of my telltale red flags that somebody might be down to earth, but he's not matching the not thinking of me as arrogant thing, because I simply repeated what you said to try to get some understanding, and here you are like freaking out about it. But it's all good. He made it as a quick statement. It sort of went in the back of my mind like, up, flag. And I was like, okay, cool. I apologize. And that sounded so insincere. But anyway. So that was my red flag. And that following weekend, when I went to see my mental health counselor, don't you like that, mental health counselor? Doesn't that make it sound all fancy? And I spoke to him about that. I was telling him that I had actually had a really great week. You know, as my perspective sort of adjusts, I'm seeing a lot of positive in my life, and honestly, that's a blessing. You know, I told him about this guy that I met. I met this guy, and what I like about, okay, so I also told him about the story, and I was like, well, you know, in the back of my mind, I guess I'm kind of writing it off or whatever because, you know, he had this little freak out situation as it relates to me simply, but me just simply restating what he said, trying to get a better understanding. And what he said to me, which makes a lot of sense, and that's why I'm sharing it with you all, is when it comes to relationships of any kind, be them romantic, be them platonic, you it's a give and take. Yes, of course. And yes, it should average out to be 50-50, but realistically, as that plays itself out, sometimes it's going to be 40-60, sometimes it's going to be 60-40, sometimes it's going to be 30-70, sometimes it's going to be 70-30, sometimes it'll be 50-50. But you just have to keep that into consideration, and as long as it averages out to 50-50, you're good. You're good. Thumbs up. And what he was saying as it relates to that is he was like, did he make a personal attack on you within the realm of telling you that he effing hates that S? And I was like, no, he didn't make a personal attack on me. I guess he was just stating his feelings about the situation and what I've said about it. And he's like, well, he has a right to feel how he feels about the situation as long as he's not making a personal attack on you and your character. Perhaps that's something that you should just accept as, well, maybe as it relates to this, as we build our relationship, whatever type of relationship it is, again, romantic, platonic, friends, whatever, you know, as we build this relationship, maybe I just have to acknowledge that perhaps that's one of the areas in which I'm going to be giving a little bit more of myself, to the extent that I have to, from my perspective, be a little more sensitive to his needs in that realm, in exchange for accepting the fact that there are some things that I may fall short on and he would pick up the slack. And that just really spoke to me. I found it really interesting, really profound, because it's like, that's very true. And take that in consideration. Sometimes it's going to be 60-40, sometimes it's going to be 40-60. You know, as long as it balances out 50-50, that's the key. So even when it comes to that personality thing, if a lot of other things are excellent and in place the way that they need to be in place, don't be so quick to write it off. I'm speaking to the camera, but I'm speaking to myself, you know, because sometimes there are other things that can work more. You know, that might be your 70-30 time, but you might have some things that make you freak out, and he's going to give 80 and you're going to give 20, you know. Anyway, that's about it. Talk to y'all later, social media world. Peace. Be blessed.